I said I hadn't played in a long time, which is true.
Okay.
I hadn't played in a very long time, but I never even played. The first time I played was like during lockdown. I played with like Jeff Asmus and Tim Smith and all those guys, and they taught me how to play. But
how to actually play.
Yeah, they taught me how to play, and and we were doing the same thing. Where like the chips were just 25, 50, 100, like that. But I thought we were playing for face value because just like actually like the chips were actually like $25, $50, and they're like, okay, it's like $100,000 pot right now, and I'm like, I didn't really know these guys that well at first, and I was like, I didn't know these comics were making money like that, like, and I'm sitting there like, okay, well I'm about to lose. And I'm sitting here like, I gotta like call somebody and see if I can get a loan somehow.
They're gonna break your kneecaps.
Yeah.
Jeff Asmus rolls like that.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm never gonna get booked in this city again. That's for sure.
I've decided you're really the kingpin. I don't care what everyone's. I don't care if they call you Uncle Jeff.
Damn it.
Nickname is
Oh man.
So you're from Normal, Illinois.
Yes, sir.
I drove through or near there. I went to Bloomington, and the people over there were not fucking with Normal.
I mean, they're twin cities, so like they bleed into each other. But yeah, Normal's like Bloomington itself is already white as fuck, but then somehow Normal
Gets even whiter.
yes.
From what I gathered, it was like Bloomington. Bloomington has kind of a hippie, collegey feel to it, and then Normal has like the full frat douche thing going on.
Yeah.
And how was your upbringing there? You just seem so chill. I'd imagine you kind of went under the radar with most people.
Yeah. It was like so I moved from New Orleans to Bloomington in like 2001. So I was like 5, 6, and then we moved from Bloomington to Normal when I was in 4th grade, so like 2004, right? And then like I remember getting to school in Normal, and just the cultural difference between the school in Bloomington versus Normal, like just instantly culture shock. Just no brown kids, basically. At least Bloomington, there was like some diversity, like diversity light, diversity with ads. They like, and I get to Normal and they're like, why are you playing basketball so rough? And I'm like, well, I'm just hooping. like why are you so violent? I'm like, what are y'all like? What?
You were violent?
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm just playing tag, dude. Like, and but no, just like I just learned very quickly, like, all right, well, just don't be yourself in front of white people. That's a
really good advice for survival.
Yeah, just don't do that. And then I just went under the radar. I found out you can be a degenerate and still come off as like a good kid. So.
Mm-hmm. Did you get bullied? Did you get fucked with, or were you like you big? Like I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I still got fucked with. Just like there's like always someone bigger than you, right? So like the kids who just so happen to be bigger than me, they would just bully whoever. But I never got like legit bullied, like I never got my ass beat or anything like that, or like. I never got like cyber bullied or anything, but yeah, there's just always assholes in school. Okay. So. And
then when did you? Oh shit! Mine's been low as fuck this whole time.
Oh no,
that's fine. People are here to listen to you. What made the decision? When did you decide to move to Chicago?
I didn't do that until I didn't move until 2019.
How long have you been doing comedy?
I've been doing comedy for it's 2022, so been 4 years now.
Okay.
Wait, no. Yeah, 4 years. Started in 2018.
Started in 2018 in Normal.
No, I started in Aurora.
Where is that?
It's a suburb, yeah, west suburb, yeah. So I did it for the first time in Normal. I was in college. It was like 2015, and actually, if you know Luke Eepsum,
I have to look him up.
he does a lot of shows at the Lodge. Or if you look up like Luke Schneider, same person.
Okay.
But he went to ISU as well, so we like knew each other back then, and we would like have open. He ran the open mic, but it was once a month, and I would just get up there and just like dick around. Like I didn't start working on material until 2018.
That's good.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know anybody still.
Huh.
I feel like this scene is so big, I still don't know most people. But that's why we do this podcast. So you were just fucking around, and then you started taking it seriously?
Yeah, because like back then I didn't even have like 4 minutes.
Oh, you were just getting up there talking?
Yeah, I was just on stage.
How
It wasn't comedy.
Did it go well? I mean,
No. Of course not. I have this whole story about me being like, oh, my name is Jeff or some shit. And like, I did a 10-minute set. And I told that story for 10 minutes. And like, if the video is on YouTube, if you like really try to search for it, but it's just like unbearably unfunny. So like, I do not count that as me doing comedy. You know? When
did you decide like, okay, I want to do this for like? Are you trying to be a professional? Cause is that the goal?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, for sure.
What was the switch? What happened?
So I graduated uni, but
uni.
No, I graduated from school and I started working. I was working at WeatherTech in the suburbs, and I quickly found myself just in that 9 to 5 grind. Just wake up, go to work, go home, eat. Cycle continues, and I don't want to say I was depressed, but I was definitely unfulfilled, and which I guess is just a gateway to depression. And so I was like, there's got to be like more to living than just, you know, yearning for the weekend every waking moment. So I started going to the mics at Comedy Shrine, and R.I.P. Comedy Shrine, by the way. That's not a place anymore.
It's gone now?
That's gone.
When did that happen?
They actually went under like this year sometime.
COVID fucked them up?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. They were moving to like this mall and doing all these like big ideas and shit, but it just didn't work out. But yeah, I started out there, and like I didn't even have 5 minutes, and I was just, you know, every punchline was just my dick, my balls, my nuts,
classic,
cum and shit. and then like I saw people have longer sets, and I'm like, oh, you can like tell a story type of shit. Then people were like, oh, you need to start doing shows or like mics in the city. You get more time, you get better. And then I get to the city, and everyone's like, no, you need to go to New York. And I'm like, what?
Everyone's just giving you all the advice?
Yeah, I'm just like, okay. So I still haven't been to New York, though. Have you?
No, not yet. I want to go to New York, and I got a buddy who moved out there. I want to go to New York if it's when I have money, you know? There's a lot of it's money and time.
Yeah.
I want to hit New York. I'm curious about Texas. People talk about Texas, but I'm also freaked out by the South.
In general, just the Bible Belt.
And I'm freaked out by America, to be honest.
Because you're from Northern California, right?
From Southern California, from Riverside.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm from Riverside, California. You've seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Okay. So Breaking Bad was based off of Riverside.
Oh.
So if you want to get it all of a sense of like Riverside, it's kind of like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
yeah, that's a pretty clear picture.
Yeah. Desert. There's like houses, but they're also in the desert. They're made of like adobe, and there's meth addicts, and there's like it's, you know, do you like the feeling of Chicago, the brick and the steam and shit, the opposite of like Southern California, New Mexico. It's flat and like hot, like abrasively hot.
Really?
All the time. All the time. Have you ever?
That sounds unbearable.
Dude, it's terrible.
I've been to San Diego.
San Diego's beautiful.
Yeah,
San
I liked
Diego's
it
great.
there, but that was my only time in Cali.
It's San Diego, LA, San Francisco are like the 3 pivot points of California, and they all have their own vibe to it. But outside of those 3 cities and maybe Oakland, it's desert mostly, if we're being real, and it's getting more deserty because of the climate change.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
which
That's a thing too. Yeah.
another reason why I moved.
Damn.
Yeah, I
'cause,
was like, I'm gonna move by water.
I've talked to comics about this. Like, everyone comes to Chicago to get good, and then they move to L.A. or New York to get work. But it's like soon both of those cities are going to be completely submerged underwater.
100%. I think I would give it like 10 years, maybe.
Probably.
If not even, yeah. And so in my head, I was like, well, fuck fame. Like, I'm not trying to be famous. And,
Right.
And the comics, let me reel myself in. I'm about to talk.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Let them know, Doc.
Yeah,
Tell us how you really feel.
What up, motherfuckers? I know you don't listen. Not yet.
You know what that sound means.
Yeah.
Shit's about to get real.
I think, without question, New York. I'm not even going to speak on New York because I've never been to New York. But Chicago comedians are better than California comedians, without question. Like it is not even a contest. And I think a big part of that is there's too many people looking for fame. This isn't to say that people in California, LA, San Diego, San Francisco that there's not good people out there, but it's where people go for fame, and that energy envelops the space. Whereas in Chicago, like you were saying, people come here to get good because, including myself, because there's no industry here. No one gives a fuck about Chicago.
Sadly.
Which they should.
They should. There should be festivals here. Saku Yanagawa did the Chicago or the World X Comedy Expo. So that was the first comedy festival here for real. So shout out to Saku. But
this place is just untouchable in terms of relative to California, in my opinion. Speaking of moving here and all that stuff. Do you remember when we first met?
I want to say I do. It was definitely you came to my mic, right?
It was at Taylor Street.
Yeah, you came through to the mic, and I remember maybe that weekend I saw you at Brandon Kiefer's place. They were having people over, and I saw you again there. And I was like, oh yeah, I just met you the other day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did I say something stupid?
No. This was when I was very quiet. I don't know if because I was quiet. I don't know if you remember much of when I first moved here. Oh, I was so quiet.
Really?
Yeah, I would sit in the corner.
I mean, you seem like a chill dude, like a laid back dude. Pretty zen'd out.
Internally, I wasn't. Internally, I was a maniac. I was super on edge. I had this paranoia. Everyone was out to get me. And
interesting.
Yeah.
Comedy wise or just in life?
Both.
Because that might be schizophrenia.
Well, the voices were like, "Hey man, watch out for this Jeff guy. He might fuck you over in poker." But
hell no.
You're
like, what does that mean? And you're like, it'll make sense in 2 years.
Get it? It's only been a year. It's so crazy. But so I was really we're also all gonna take a picture.
Hell yeah.
Thing. I was just really on edge. I thought I was just on defensive mode. I was coming from abusive environment, a really fucked up environment, and a part of me came out here to kind of cleanse myself of that, which I've gotten much better at. Now that a year has gone by and this place feels like home, I can feel more comfortable. I would call you my friend, I guess.
Yeah,
we're friends.
You've let me into your home for the second time. We're buddies, man.
And the other big part that makes me really happy is making black friends. I think it is so important. I don't know if you had when you moved to Normal. It sounds like you didn't have any black friends.
Well, I did. So because I mean, Bloomington Normal itself, very small, like, town. Like, I think between the two of them, maybe like 120,000 people between the two towns. So, like, you know, it's not like moving from Bloomington to Normal. I just stopped hanging out with the people I knew. It was, so there was already not many niggas at all. So, like, you know, but my mom had me in shit like Urban League and Toastmasters, so I was always just like being productive, but still around other black people that, like, you know, staying connected type of shit.
Yeah, my mom did not give me the courtesy of that. I think so. My family was, going back, from what I understand of it, were pretty early on integrated into the white society. I want to say maybe even my great-grandparents, but I know for sure my grandparents were early on integrated. And, you know, I think black people...
When you say integrated, you mean just like just
when
like
integration...
You know,
when you know that picture of the little girl leaving the school and all the white people are cursing at her?
Yeah.
Like, my family was in the mix of that.
Holy shit.
Yeah. There's a old newspaper I found where it's old because it's like Negro family. It's like that was in the newspaper. I'm sure when they were typing.
Local Negress goes to.
Apparently, there's some sort of burning piece of wood on a Negro's house. The Negroes complained, but we really thought that maybe we were giving them fire because they're not. Whatever.
They're so primitive.
So primitive. But there's this newspaper article that I found about my family where they were talking about something happened. They were getting harassed and threatened and stuff because they just existing there. And my family is so conceit is not the right word. So attention hungry that they laminated. They were still like, who were in the newspaper? That's kind of cool. So my family early on,
hell no.
My family early on was integrated, so they were just around white people a lot. And I think black people have different ways of approaching surviving around white people. And my family was about integration and education and keep them calm. Like, I was always raised to do whatever it is. Like when you got the cop talk as a kid.
Oh yeah. I think I was like, I was pretty young, maybe like 3rd, 4th grade.
There you go, classic times.
Yeah. That's when you start noticing like very key differences between you and your white friends.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I want to do stupid shit in the neighborhood too. And they're like, no, nigga.
Airsoft guns? Nah, wasn't allowed to do that.
Yup.
Airsoft guns. That was the shit. Airsoft guns were so cool.
Yes, bro. I had an airsoft pistol. My mom was petrified when I had that. And she was like, I don't like you having that. I don't like you being outside with that. Yeah. And I'm like,
it's bright green.
Yeah. I'm just playing, like, you know. Yeah. And I'm like, I just want to paint the tip black so it doesn't have that stupid thing. And she's like, what are you doing? You're going to get killed.
It's crazy. Man, I was just watching this. I watched this movie last night, I think. Do you know American? God damn it! Oh Jesus, not American Vandals. American Animals. I'd suggest watching it, and we'll talk about it later. It's a movie that came out in 2018. I watched it in 2019. I just rewatched it, and watching it from this new perspective of white people and the way they've reacted in January 6th and all that stuff. I never thought about white privilege in such a pure. You should really watch it. I'll send it to you.
What's the
so it's about
plot? I guess
it's in 2003. These guys in Kentucky, these college students in Kentucky, they watch too many fucking heist movies, and they try to actually pull off a heist in this library for this really rare book. And the whole movie, this isn't spoilers, you'll see what I mean. The whole movie is the fantasy of what it is to have a heist. Like, you know, when you watch
instead of actually,
and what it really is, like when you watch Ocean's 11 or another heist movie or whatever, and you see them coming, oh, we got to get the guy, he's on the computer, and then we got to get the guy who's really strong. We got the inside man, and they're doing all of that. and you actually talk to the real the actual people that the story's based on are in the film too.
Oh, sure.
So they're giving their perspective of the story while the story's happening. And you see that they think it's a game, it's all fun, and then they actually do the heist, and you watch it, and you're like, oh, this heist shit is like you really have to knock people out and do crazy shit.
Yeah.
And when you put that in the real
Everybody
world,
get on the ground. They're like, what? Like, bitch, get on the ground.
yeah, it's crazy. And these aren't like criminal. These are just regular white dudes in college who just thought it would be cool to do a heist. And
so they weren't even like strapped for cash.
No,
Wow.
One of them.
Wow.
Oh.
This is just thrill seeking.
Oh,
You
Jeff.
kidding me?
Jeff, you need to see this.
It's called American
Animals.
Animals.
And you can find it on Hulu, I think.
Oh, sick.
So, okay, there's 4 of them. Oh, dog, you need to see this shit. So, there's 4 of them. One of them comes from real money. When they do interviews with like their family members and stuff, you see this guy's mom, and she is in a fucking foyer, and there's Mexicans cleaning her shit in the background, and there's like one of these dudes comes from real money. One of them, his whole logic was he's like the main guy, you could argue. He's a painter, and in his head he was like, artists need to go through struggle. That's what in his head as a kid, he was like, yeah, I need to have some sort of struggle. And so he was looking for kind of that. There's kind of the ringleader of the group, and he's kind of like the Steve-O of he's just wacky and likes to do shit. Then there's one guy, Jeff. There's one guy who wants to be in the FBI, who decides to get involved with is the dumbest shit. And they do, again, spoilers, because of course they get caught and they get consequences, but not nearly the level that like a black person would get.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they're all successful after this. This doesn't ruin their lives at all. It was a hiccup in their lives.
White people, I'm trying to remember the age I first noticed white people fail up.
Yeah. Ooh, please tell me more.
Like that stupid shit. Like, oh, I want to work for the FBI, blah, blah, blah. Like, white people, that's privilege. They have the privilege to make mistakes in the first place, but they also have the privilege to do blatantly stupid shit and then still get promoted or get like everything's better afterwards. Like you said, it was just a hiccup.
It's just a hiccup in their lives.
I saw a tweet last week, and it was saying that Brock Turner is just like hanging out at bars again in Daytona, or not Daytona, in Dayton, Ohio. And it's like
he killed people.
He didn't kill it. He didn't kill anyone. He raped a woman.
I was thinking of the other white guy that went down into the protests and
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Is he in trouble? Is he good?
Kyle Rittenhouse, he's about to go to college. Yeah, he's fine.
He's
crazy. Also a millionaire.
That's crazy. But yeah, Brock Turner, I remember him. He did some rapings.
He raped. Well, as far as we know, the one he got caught for, he raped a woman behind the dumpster. Her unconscious, passed the fuck out, and it's like, okay, yeah, she was passed out behind a dumpster. What the fuck you doing? Right. But also like, doesn't mean you just fucking have your way with an unconscious person.
Okay. We both had sex, right? We're players. Can you imagine, like, even taking out the heinousness of it? Obviously, let's be clear, you shouldn't rape.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a announcement from your sponsors over at don'trape.com.
So obviously you don't rape. But if you're gonna rape,
okay, where's this going?
Behind a dumpster is like weird, uncomfortable, and unsanitary. Like, I'm just saying. Are you saying? If you're gonna do that, you do it in a bed. So just don't be an animal about it. No, I'm saying.
Don't be an animal about. You know what? I think we should just get back to the. It was called American Animals. You were talking about.
No, but no. The whole thing about like just getting away with everything. You seen Atlanta? I've been talking about this on the podcast.
Yeah, I just finished up the 3rd season.
You remember the scene with Liam Neeson where he's like, well, the best and worst thing about being white is that you don't have to learn anything if you don't want to. Mm-hmm. And that really rings true to me that like, yeah. I'm actually, to get back into comedy, you don't talk about race much, do you?
No, because it goes back to like, growing up in Bloomington Normal, if you will. Like I'm sure all of us as comics figure out we're funny at some point in our lives, and then you figure out like what makes people laugh around you. And I noticed that anytime, like, I could be goofy as fuck, I could be like, I could do physical comedy, trip over shit, and like I'm just so stupid, and people will laugh at that. And then the second I'm like, hey, but things are also kind of fucked up for black and brown people in the U.S. It would go from like I'm getting a bunch of laughs from my classmates to everyone's just like, what are you talking about? Like, just nothing. And it's like, I still haven't, even since then, I have not found a way to bring up political issues and still be funny. I can bring up political issues and make good points and tell the truth and be like, hey, this is fucked up, but I can't bring it around to those white people who are like, I don't have to give a shit,
So is that a desire you want? You want down the road to be able to talk about those things?
I want to be able to talk about those things. I don't, not necessarily, not on stage. I think my voice in comedy is just being a goofy dude. But like, I want to be able to get to a point where I can talk about those things and not fear any like repercussions from like people like blowing up on me online or I don't know, getting assassinated by the CIA. Type of shit.
I was reading this shit. It's incredibly depressing.
Dude, oh my God, man.
It's so depressing.
Yeah, I love Fred Hampton, like, and because like growing up so close to Chicago, like I learned all about him, and then like just like the labor struggle
and the Panthers
in Chicago, like it's such a deep history. But Fred Hampton, him being the G he was, being like, look, why don't we all just come together?
Rainbow Coalition.
And I'm like, I'm so close to just getting a megaphone and saying that same shit on Michigan Avenue, but look what happened to that nigga.
Right? Can you believe this man was 21 when he died?
21,
and the FBI.
21. That's insane. I'm 27, and I'm like, I'm just now figuring out like my core political beliefs and shit. But he had
so much conviction, and he was so, from what I read about him, so charismatic and likable, and that is what I learned through watching. How old were you when Trump got elected?
It's 2016, so I was like 21.
Did you give a fuck at the time?
Yeah, just because...
Oh, boy.
Okay, I have never said this out loud.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm going to clip this shit.
In the voting booth, I was this close to voting for Trump just as like a hee-hee ha-ha, because I'm like, I mean, there's no way this nigga's about to get elected. And I was in the booth like, what if I just said Trump, And I said, what that other bitch. But then the nigga got elected, and I was like, oh. Yeah. Oh, I would not. It wouldn't have been a joke anymore. Yeah. Like
you would have for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
you would have to tell people. Yeah, the first go around, I just thought it was funny. Dude, like this. Speaking of like Fred Hampton and politics and Trump and all of that, it's making me realize how important and dangerous a charismatic speaker can be.
Yep.
There's something.
Yep.
Through stand-up too, like. Realizing it's stand-up is such a weird art form in that you were making these people have an involuntary reaction through words and thoughts. And that's super. It's kind of like a superpower. It's a weird skill to have, to be able to get in front of people, which is most people's like biggest fear, and to be able to command and in hundreds of people potentially, and to rile them up the way Trump or Fred Hampton does is such an impressive thing to me.
Yeah, man. It's very it's something to be marveled, really. Like, because like you're saying, whether for good or evil,
It's crazy.
It's just kind of mind-boggling, especially like on Trump's end of the spectrum, because then you can really see how far you can take it, which is scary.
I used to think, I remember learning about Hitler and being like, how the fuck, how? Like, how is it even possible that you would get to this point?
Right.
And Trump, beat for beat, I'm like, oh, this is how you get,
Bro.
It's.
And then it also makes me like, it also kind of makes me think like, oh, that's, how do I want to say this? Like, the Holocaust went on for as long as it did because, like, over here we were so ignorant to what was actually happening.
Not doing shit about it. And at the same time, you have to remember 1940s, like, Americans weren't really like fond of Jews. So they were like, I'm not fond of Jews now, but yeah. They don't seem to be all
but
that
at
happy
least,
about
but
it.
there was no Seinfeld back then. There was no
right.
Curb Your Enthusiasm back then. So they were just like, they got them in camps. All right.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I go camping all the time with my family.
Clean.
We make hot dogs on sticks. It's great.
So Germany's cleaning up the streets. Okay. Yeah, I forgot the point I was even trying to make originally, but
Well, it's just with this, like, who did I talk to recently? I think I talked to Ryan Thomas or Dan Cass, one of those two, about it. But tell me if I'm being hyperbolic here, sir. You're calm. You're a chill guy. I sincerely believe we might have a civil war. And when I say civil war, I don't mean we're going to dress up in brown and gray and walk at each other with batons. I mean, like, when you see videos in, I'm not going to name a Middle Eastern country because I don't know shit and I don't want to sound stupid, but you know what I'm saying. When you see those videos with insurgents and people are just in houses shooting at each other and shit, like, I sincerely have a concern that it might get to that point. Am I being hyperbolic?
you're not being, well, by the definition of the word hyperbolic, yes, but it's not like, it's not absurd that your brain is going there. Like, because, like, bro. So, like, okay. Growing up in Normal, right? They taught us this normal, Bloomington Normal is a bubble. You're like living in the safe little dome. And in the dome, there's still structural racism and shit like that. But within the bubble, they're like, hey, racism is pretty much gone. Like, especially when Obama got elected, they were like, and the way they taught us slavery, luckily my parents taught me about, the real history. But like in school, they're basically like, hey, yeah, we brought some people over here. They did it, they worked for us for a little bit. But then Abe Lincoln came along and was like, no more. Because we're white and we're right. So we freed those coons and put them to the back of the bus where they belong. And it's like, growing up, I'm just a fucking kid. I'm like, okay, what reason do these adults have to lie to me? Then you're like, you realize like, oh, like, no, this is just all bullshit. So then like you get out the bubble and you see what the world is really like. And then fast forward to George Floyd, the bubble pops. like you can't even pretend to be in the bubble anymore. And now it's like, oh, motherfuckers are crazy.
The reaction to George Floyd was when I truly gave up on white people, I think. I think, like, which is saying something in terms of our patience level, because there was all of the childhood trauma of white people. I don't know how much violence you endured.
I never endured any physical violence from white people besides just being like, I don't know. There's like a couple weird times I got like rocks thrown at me. I was just walking home, but just like random shit. But,
I had some fairly violent encounters.
really? In California?
Yeah. And when I tell, this is the, stay calm, Aaron. Stay calm. Just talk.
Really?
Just stay calm, Aaron. I really can't emphasize how much people misunderstand what California is. The reason I say California and not LA is the same reason why if you are from Aurora, Illinois, you don't say you're from Chicago.
Oh.
I'm from California. I'm like the Illinois of California.
Right.
In the desert, you got like white people in the desert are a different breed. Like
Jesus.
they're
I never thought about desert whites.
There's a different type of person.
Ashy white.
It's really because they like the mentality you need to have to want to be in the desert is a different type of person, different type of culture. And it's the desert and suburbs, those two things. And those two things are scary places in my opinion. But yeah, real violence, getting jumped, like people actually tried to kill me. Like, yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was really bad.
Whoa, no, I've never gone through anything like that.
I've been arrested for no reason a few times. The word nigger got thrown around by my youth pastor in church. Like, crazy shit. Crazy shit.
See, I think I used humor a lot to deflect. I can use humor to get out of anything, I guess, now, but like growing up, I would use it like, because you be put in these awkward racist ass situations, and then you're just like, I can either just feel weird, or I can just let everyone feel weird, or I can crack a joke and we move the fuck on. So I'm like,
that's why black comics are the best. We're fucking hands down the best comedians in my opinion are black.
Dude, yeah, because like, bro, I'm trying to think of a specific situation, but I can't think of anything specific without just like straight up lying. But like,
I have a story to put in context the place I grew up in. We had the high school I went to got built. It was a newer one. It was like early 2000s it was built. And they named it Martin Luther King Jr. High School. And the neighborhood protested that. Like, it wasn't Malcolm X High School. It wasn't Farrakhan High School.
That's another thing too. That's like to show how whitewashed history gets. Yeah. Martin Luther King died a hated man. Mm-hmm. Even amongst black people, it was only like 30% of black people approved of what he was doing, and majority of us were like, we shouldn't be stirring the pot. Yeah. You know, we stopped working for free. We kind of got it good now. And it's like,
he was radical as fuck, and that made me sad. That was the most Californian shit I've ever said. He's fucking radical,
dude.
You should not be able to describe. You should not describe Martin Luther King.
But actually, no, fuck that. No, like,
he was pretty radical.
Fucking like surfer.
Totally
he was totally radical.
He was totally radical.
Totally radical. And then like white surfer dudes co-opted that word.
Fucked it up. That's what they do. But that was the moment I gave up on them, because throughout my life, all of this violence and crazy shit's happening. I'm trying to tell people like this is happening. Everyone's telling me I'm being crazy, or I would be told I was being racist. That was another one.
Yup.
And then I just, my patience continued to get whittled down. Then Trump got elected, and I was like, well, this is bad. Then Tiki Torch, both sides, and it just kept going.
So you recently got out of a relationship with a Caucasoid. Were you guys dating when Trump got elected?
Wait, who are we talking about right now? We're talking. Oh, okay. No. So. She, if you are white and listening, and I'm friends with you, and you know that I'm friends with you, and just know that's very important. I'm giving you a big compliment. Like, so when I speak about this person, big compliment here. That was Hannah. No, she, we started dating. It was like I call it a COVID relationship, survival. We needed each other. I was half homeless. She was escaping a situation from England. And so
from across the pond.
Yeah, she was going across the pond and shit, doing her thing.
Yeesh.
And so we, we're trying to pay rent under a house. Like, we're survival mode. And we both just kind of in the right place at the right time for each other. And we both needed each other to get to Chicago.
Gotcha.
And then, that's right. Because okay. So you were there when I talked about it on stage when we broke up that night, I think, or that day. Yeah. So about a month and a half in to we broke up.
Okay, I remember you were sitting at the bar, and I was like, you were like scrolling. I'm like, either something really good just happened or something really bad just happened.
I took like 3 shots of tequila.
And then you went up. Yeah, I remember that day. Holy shit! Wow. Damn, man.
Sorry, what?
No, I was just gonna say, and then you still have to live together for a grip.
Well, it was, all things considered, best. Like, we got a 2-bedroom apartment for a reason. We knew, it was like we knew that this was practical more than anything. And I'll tell you off the thing a little more details of it because it's her business as well. But overall, it's good. She's good. I'm good. We're good.
That's cool. That's good.
But I did during quarantine date a white woman who very frustrating. Her father was like chief of police for a while. And they had Fox News on 24/7 in the house. I know, right? And I remember I was talking to her, and I was like teaching her about racism. I had to explain to her, this happens, and this happens, and this happens. And her mind was like, she sincerely didn't understand or realize, which is crazy to me, but she's living in her own world. And the moment it really clicked for her was, okay, so I'm in quarantine, living at my grandma's in the garage because I don't want to kill my grandmother because of COVID.
Oh,
sorry, I worded that. I did word that a little weird.
I was like, you just got an urge to kill this bitch?
I was just standing there with knives. Fucking cutting knives.
I'm like, oh, proceed.
So COVID, so I'm staying as distant as I can.
Okay.
And
being an upstanding citizen.
Yes, I'm being an upstanding. Okay. I'm being a good grandson.
Yeah.
And so the neighborhood, this is the house I grew up in. This is the neighborhood I grew up in, and it's all very white neighbors, same neighbors. They've seen me grow up since childhood, right? My whole neighborhood was filled with Trump flags and Blue Lives Matter flags and American flags and Marine flags all over the place. Like, it was very clear there. Everyone was making sure that you knew where you were.
Damn.
And one night I was walking. This was during the protests, during the what is it called? Curfew. You remember that time? Remember when we had a curfew because of the protests?
Here in Chicago, yeah.
There's a curfew nationwide. And so I was walking my dog with her. We were going down the street, and this big white pickup truck. Now, we both know what that means. Anytime you see a big white pickup truck, there's a fucking problem. This big white pickup truck pulls up on the wrong side of the road, on our side, and faces us, and has the brights on, so you can't see anything. Because it's like dark as fuck. We're in the suburbs, and there's no like lights or anything. And it was clearly like a threatening thing. So I was like, we're going back, retreat, let's go back. And, you ready for it to get personal? So I had myself a cry that night because I felt cowardly. I felt like all this stuff is going on. I'm not in the city. I can't protest with people. I'm trapped here. And everywhere I go, there's American flags and Trump flags and whatever. And I felt like, why I shouldn't have backed down. I should have kept going, which is very smart that I went home because they
of course, yeah,
very smart. Because if we're being real, they might have killed me. Probably, it's probably what they were gonna do. And so,
Jesus, what suburb was this?
Riverside.
Oh, this is back in California.
This is back home.
Oh, Jesus. I thought you were saying the suburb here.
No. It's all California.
I'm like, maybe like Naperville. I'm like, maybe like.
So I had to, man, next day I had to go get guns. I got a shotgun and a revolver to protect my house.
Yep.
Yep.
Niggas. Attention, niggas.
Get guns.
Please.
I'm all for black people.
Use your Second Amendment right.
I'm all for black people owning guns.
That's why there's any gun control in the first place.
Yeah.
Any gun laws on the books are because they're trying to keep them out the hands of Negroes.
Absolutely.
And negresses.
It's, man, I'm all for black. I don't like white people owning guns. I don't think they should own guns. I think only black people should own guns, and like Asian people and Mexican people should own guns.
They've
Everyone
only
else-
proven that they are very dangerous with guns.
Clearly, it's that's fucking mind-boggling. But
well, real fast.
Yeah.
Something I've noticed. Another thing I've never really articulated, but something I've noticed is you can tell a lot about a person by how they describe the civil unrest during 2020. So you called it, you're like you said there were curfews during the protests.
Yep.
A lot of white people I talk to, they'll say, well, back during the riots.
Yep.
And it's like, or if I am talking to a white person that says protest, I know what kind of white they are. Just off rip. And it's like, oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm getting a whole broad scope, a broad,
White people,
scope.
White people are sneaky. They're real. I'll give them this. They're very good at reframing information.
Yep.
I remember because they couldn't say niggers anymore. They changed it to thugs.
Yep.
I remember there was a good portion of time where these thugs are all running. It's like, we know what you mean.
Oh, shout out to Adam Adiz. He has a great joke where he's like, I just want to turn niggas into colleagues because then
It's my colleagues.
Because then how will they feel saying that shit?
I was gonna say words and I can't remember what the words were. I'm surprised. I'm gonna elaborate on that statement.
You're surprised at what?
I think one of the better ways, at least for me, to get to know somebody is one-on-one like this. It's just, there's a different dynamic. When we're playing poker, we're at an open mic or whatever, there's a different dynamic to that energy. But sitting down and just talking with someone, I did not peg you for someone who was as focused on race and politics as you seem to, because you're so quiet.
Yeah. I guess that's a conditioning of my upbringing. Just like, like I was saying, like really growing up, all I wanted to do was get laughs. And then I'm like, okay, me talking about all this political shit, no one gives a fuck. And then I'm like, but also I learned like you kind of get a lot more done if you go under the radar instead of like announcing like, we need to stand up against this, and this. Mm-hmm. Just like be slick about it and then just like organize, but not be loud about it peacefully. Mm-hmm. Because, there's actually been a study too, like peaceful resistance is way more effective than like going out and just like shooting Nazis and racists. So like if there's a way we can like be peaceful about being disruptive, then I will always opt for that. But that usually comes from a place of not even saying like what you're trying to do.
Right.
Just end up being like, oh, by the way,
that's
I'm super leftist and I'm fucking your daughter. Sorry.
That's very intelligent. And I'm trying to take a page out of that book because I'm loud and angry.
See, so I started doing therapy during 2020 because I was this close, Aaron, to taking a brick and throwing it through a squad car. I swear to God. I was like, I am about to set something on fire. I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah, please. Okay. You were here. You were in Chicago during all of that.
Yeah.
I heard stories. I heard horror. What? Please, regale us.
Dude, okay. So, like, you're saying how white people have a great way of, like, framing things that they don't agree with. Every protest I went to in Chicago, peaceful. 100% of the protests I was in were peaceful. And 100% of the time, the cops got very violent they started hiding. They started covering their body cams or turning off their body cams and covering their name tags so you couldn't identify them. And then just beating the fuck out of protesters. Lori Lightfoot, nobody talks about this. There was a bunch of protesters downtown, and the bitch left them stranded in the loop, fucking put the bridges up. So then they like corralled all the protesters to a certain area, put the bridges up so they couldn't get out of downtown, and then the cops just had a fucking field day and just beat the fuck. Tad Walters, he got arrested that day.
Who?
Tad Walters, he runs Sauteed stand-up at the Lincoln Lodge. Yeah.
Really?
He was in the protest that day when Lori put the bridges up, and he's like, dude, that shit, like, he's like, I'm a white kid from Louisiana, and I've never been, like, so scared. and I'm like, dude, like, they have the infrastructure in place to quell any sort of, like, uprising. So imagine if people actually went out in the streets with guns being like, fuck billionaires, fuck racist pieces of shit, they would have no problem being like, oh, our cameras aren't working for some reason, and then all of a sudden a bunch of dead protesters show up, and then they'll spin it, and it's like, I've been trying to tell people, especially white people, like growing up, like this is what they have done to black people for so long. It's kind of just a trial run for like real like mass control. I'm kind of going on a tangent now, but it's like I tell people that, and then white people especially, they're like, why would our government do that to us? I'm like, because they do it to us, and we're technically citizens.
He said technically. On paper.
On paper,
3/5 at least. That is horrifying. That's really horrifying. And I'm doing much better. I'm sincerely thankful that like you came over to poker. I was actually when I hit you up, I was worried you're gonna be like, nah, nigga, fuck you. I don't.
What? I like being invited to shit.
Because of my insecurities.
Damn, dude.
Well, that's what I mean. That was my mentality when I moved here. This podcast has been a lot of me learning, like, chill, Aaron, chill.
Yeah.
Not everyone's out. It's okay. Chill. Yeah. You're not in Riverside anymore. It's okay. You gotta chill.
Yeah.
And finding like it means so much to me when I get to hang out with you and Matt and Rachel and Kai and Ty and Christian. Like, I mean, Kai and Ty missed out, but you know.
No, yeah.
But like, I've come to realize like not only do I need to distance myself a little bit from white people, but I need to make sure I have a group of black people that I can be around, that I can trust, that I feel safe with. Mm-hmm. I remember I went to, I won't say the place, I went to a mic. It's the one, here, I'm going to write it down.
Wait, don't show me
okay.
what you write down. Tell me the story, and then I'm going to try to guess what mic you're talking about.
Okay.
But first, let me go to the bathroom. I'm about to piss my pants. Sorry, audience.
All right. So while you're pissing, I went to, this is the goofiest goddamn podcast. I hope they can hear you piss. I hope you piss loud, Jeff. Can you hold up. I'm pretty sure they can hear that. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay, can you hear me? Jeff? Oh, you really can't hear me right now over your own piss. Just so everybody knows, Jeff pisses like Niagara Falls, like you're right under Niagara Falls. It's very loud. It's very aggressive. I feel like he's not allowed to do water play when he does sex because he would just hurt the girl. Shoots like a super soaker right through her eye. This is getting gross. Are you done? Yeah. All right. You got the extra squirts? Is that what's going on? Because I know the squirts. Yeah, you know, at the very end where you got like 3 or 4. You know when you're in a rush? The stragglers. You know when you're in a rush to pee and you got the stragglers and then you're like, fuck it, and you put your pants back on and a straggler or two gets in the pants? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know that game. Whoever is listening, I'm so sorry. We'll get back to it. Can you hear me? Okay. So every time I went to this mic, I would always feel uneasy. Every time I went to this mic, I would go in and I'd be like, ooh, oh, this is a little slice of not Chicago right now.
Interesting.
The music, the vibe of the people, everyone's white. There's this country feeling to it.
Interesting.
And I remember I was sitting, minding my own business, as most of my stories like this start. And this guy started talking to me. It was something about racist white people that they just feel the need to talk to you. You know what I mean?
Because they wanna get a they want you to be like, oh no, you're not racist. You're completely sound of mind, sir.
There's nothing off about you at all. You're
right.
This is a very normal conversation about guns, and nah, I'm okay, man. Man, you really put them away. Yes, sir. God damn. So I'm sitting with this other comic too. I can't remember who it was, but the guy starts talking about race with me. I can't remember how we got to this point, but he essentially said to go back where you came from.
And he started talking to you.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. These people are fucking. That shit happened in Riverside too. I was outside this bar that, I'm shit you not, had a Confederate flag on it in California. I'm sitting there waiting to do this mic.
It's about states' rights.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I'm sitting there to do this mic, and this guy, I'm sitting minding my fucking business, and this guy, big white dude, comes. And there's this big ass bench. It goes from like where I'm sitting to maybe the door. And maybe there's like a little sliver here. He comes, he sits his fat fucking McDonald's filled body half on top of me and starts talking to me about socialism and racism.
What the fuck?
And he starts getting mad at me. I was like, sir, I didn't open this. I didn't want to talk to you in the first. What are you doing? Leave me alone. Fuck. Sorry. That's the thing. I think that's what also, get ready for a hot take, Jeff.
Uh-oh.
I support segregation.
Uh-oh.
Hear me out. Not like legal, like it should be illegal for people to be around each other, but to a degree, I support like, just leave. If you have a problem with this group, just leave them alone. Like in the way that you could argue that this little poker night is a segregated poker. Like I made the decision to invite black people to my place to have fun and hang out. I decided to do that. I made an active decision to not talk to white people to do this because I just want to be comfortable. I don't want any of the problems. So there's a degree where I'm like, yeah, so leave me alone. If that's what it is, fine.
I don't think it can be considered racism when you do that, though. At some point, that has to be considered
boundaries. Preservation.
Self-preservation. Because like, I'm gonna let you get back to the story, but there's been like a study they've done on like black people who are primarily hanging out with white people, and they get gray hair sooner because they're like always walking on eggshells and they just can't be themselves. Like, but yeah,
it's very stressful, and so so I did it. I got up and I did a set talking about it. It was a good set. It was fine. But every time I went there, I would be and this is early on in moving to Chicago, I would be immensely uncomfortable. And I would watch all the other comics, not a care in the world, fine. Like they didn't pick up on what this is. And do you think you know what it is? Do you want to write it down?
Yeah, I think I know.
Okay. Let's see this.
I forget the name of the bar, but
no,
really?
I've never been there. It was this one.
Really?
Do you don't get that vibe when you go there?
Interesting. I guess I have to say that place reminds me of like so many like bars back home that I guess sense. I know I can just navigate without being like. But now that you mention it, I guess that is kind of like a...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's whatever.
Whoa. All right, continue.
I had another incident where Rachel, like, every time.
That's surprising and also makes sense at the same time. Wow.
Right. By the way, this is, and I'm only keeping it, I'm not saying the place because it I don't feel like it's necessary.
It's not necessary.
And it is
also fuck y'all. No.
And it's also not an indictment of the comics or the people running them. Like, it has nothing to do with that. It's just the environment. But I remember I went to this other mic for the first time. It was in
The mic I wrote down, I did a show there.
Yeah.
And then they had an open mic afterwards. I stayed for the mic. And I like go to the bathroom, and there's this guy sitting at the bar, and he's just like talking shit about black people. And I was just like, what the fuck is, like, it has to be because he just saw me just now. And then I go to the bathroom, or no, before I walk to the bathroom, he's just screaming the N-word. And he's just like, nigger.
And who?
Niggers.
In general?
So, like, okay, because, all right, so they're at this bar over here, and it's like the way to the bathroom, you have to take a sharp right.
Right.
So I'm in the middle of taking this right, and I hear him drop the first N-bomb, and I'm like, okay. You know when you're like fight or flight kicks in, you're like, maybe I didn't hear that right. So I keep going to the bathroom, and I'm in the bathroom, and I hear him saying like, what, I'm supposed to care because they're around? No. Niggers. And he's like, I don't want to see him. Or he started saying all this racist shit, but he kept saying nigger. And then I come out the bathroom and I make eye contact with every person at the bar because, of course, everyone gets quiet as fuck. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at everyone. I'm like, who could it have been? And no one's like, everyone's looking at me. I'm looking at everyone.
I got a thing I'm going to show you.
And then they like, I'm looking at everyone. I'm like, I can't decipher who it could have been. So I just keep walking. And then Dale McPeak runs up to me. He's like, yo, I just heard all that shit. Like, are you good? Like, fuck that guy. Like, if you want to get lunch ever, like.
you want a sandwich, dog.
Yeah. He's like, I know a great place for wings. I'm like, okay, I see you're being nice, but I'm not going to accept your offer to go get wings after just hearing the N-word getting thrown around.
So okay, before I tell you the story that involves Rachel, check this shit out. So I was doing street stand-up and performing and stuff in California. Watch this. I got the Xbox, I got the PlayStation 5 Valve, so I'm going to keep up with my Spider-Man game. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right now, I've been fighting the Sinisters. What? All right. Oh, wow. He said we were... Like, that's
in a BMW.
Oh yeah, that's California. I need to make this clear for people. That's California. What you picture in California is not that's California for 100%. That's California.
I mean, it makes sense because like historically, you hear the story. It's like Rodney King, like you hear stories about LAPD, like and you hear the stories about the racist sheriff's departments, the sheriff's gangs. I mean, like,
I think what else it is when it comes to California and why white people are especially aggressive there, especially in the OC. Don't go to Orange County. Do not go to Orange County.
Really?
Do not go to Orange County, especially now.
Whoa, is that where Calabasas is?
I don't know. I don't know. But trust me. Just don't do it.
Holy
it's not worth
shit.
it. But I think what it is California is perceived as a blue state. And so they get angry. I think they're angry about that. And they think their voice isn't heard. And when white people think their voice isn't heard, bad things happen. But regardless, so I'm at this place to try to do their mic. Do you know that one?
Oh, wait, no.
There's a mic there. It's real. It's
wait.
Yeah, there's a mic there. Doesn't matter where it is. So I'm sitting there, minding my own business. Isn't that funny how that starts over and over? That's how that story starts. Long story, very, very long story short. This lady, the white lady is next to me, starts throwing out nigger. Because, of course.
Here in Chicago.
Yeah, here in Chicago.
On the north side.
On the north side.
Actually, that makes sense.
It does make perfect sense. Yeah. And, again, long story short. So, Rachel, this white woman who is leaning hard into being a woman. She's doing the thing where it's like, I'm a woman and I'm oppressed because I'm a woman. Which, is true is as that this is what makes me fucking angry about white women in particular, is like, yes, I do not doubt, yes, you go through shit as well, and I acknowledge that. Fucking Brock, what is the name? Brock Turner, the rapist guy. That was a white girl that he raped, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they deal with shit, and I don't want to take away from that.
Right.
But I hate when they lean into it to protect themselves so they can say shitty things. Fucking, what's her name? The Emmett Till lady.
Carolyn Bryant.
Oh, good. I'm glad you know her name, because I didn't know her name. She's still alive. She is not in fucking jail. That's crazy.
And people are like, well, she's old. She's senile.
Cosby was old. Go fuck yourself.
We still fucking convict Nazis of war crimes.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So throw out nigger, whatever, and then she's leaning into the woman thing. And I call Rachel, and I put Rachel on FaceTime. And Rachel's like, hey, in her most, you know when she gets especially Texan in her accent? Listen for it. When she gets riled up.
I didn't know she was from Texas until she said it the other night. I thought she was like, wait, are her and Matthew related?
No.
Because they look like they're cousins or some shit.
No, they're just
That's crazy.
They're just really close.
That's crazy.
But when you listen to Rachel talk, and she'll like when she gets upset or riled up, her Texan comes out more. It's really funny. Yeah. I can't
Is it like chopped and screwed? It's like dope.
Yeah, she puts in her grills. It's a wild thing. So she's talking to this lady like, "What did you say? What's going on?" And the lady's ignoring it, and she's like, "I'm gonna come over there." And the lady keeps ignoring it. She's like, okay, see you soon. And she hangs up. And I thought the lady was going to be smart enough to just leave. She didn't. She sat there. And so Rachel comes. I'm outside getting away from this woman because I'm furious. Like, I was very...
So you guys are just sitting there at a different table, and she's at a whole different table, and she just starts saying it?
So we're at a bar. The bartender's a young black kid, and then she's clearly been there. I'm not sitting right now. Like, I sit a little away from, like, I'm writing. Like, I'm trying to get ready for this mic. And she starts talking to me. I can't remember what. She wasn't making sense. She was being weird. There's something about her that just felt off. And she started talking about how I was exotic or something to the effect of that. Yeah.
Oh my God, I just got so.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She kept talking about how she was 1/14 a Native American, and she's a woman, and I'm exotic and all that. She was doing shit before that was antagonizing. I can't remember what it was, but when she got to exotic, I was fed up. I was done with it, and I said something like, "Look, don't fucking, like, if you're gonna try to be nice, do not fucking call anybody, black, Asian, whatever. Don't call us fucking exotic. It's not a compliment." So I'm getting aggressive because I'm angry at that point. And then she starts talking about how she's Native American again or whatever. And I look at the bartender who's been hanging out watching. We've been making the black dude eye contact, doing
this shit is getting weird, right?
Yeah, we're doing the telepathic conversation in our heads. And I look at this dude and I'm like, oh, nigga. Like, as I look at him and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, exasperated. And then she's like, nigga! Nigga! She sounds like Stink Meaner. Nigga!
What's really good, nigga? No.
She's yelling it at me.
Stink Meaner, that's a deep cut. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
And so that was, then I tell Rachel, and here we are. So I'm outside, and I go outside, and the black dude, and I'm trying to, I'm doing my best to keep him out of it. Because he's trying to mind his own business. And he's trying to work. If he tries to kick this lady out, I don't know what problems that might cause for him. Like, I don't want to drag him into bullshit. And so he comes out. He drops all of his veneer, his I'm at work veneer, and he's like, dog. Look, he was really pristine up until that point. He was like, yo, so your girl, these two old black dudes come in, and I guess she immediately started talking to them about Harriet Tubman and how much she loves Harriet Tubman.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And so then Rachel comes.
She would have hated Harriet Tubman if they were alive during the same time.
Despise Harriet.
Oh my God.
But so Rachel comes, we go back in, and Rachel sits down and is like, hi, I'm the person who was on the phone. I'm talking to you now. And she was pressing her. She was asking her questions. Didn't get violent, didn't get aggressive. She was just blunt, asking her, like, what's going on here? Why is he saying you're saying this to him? And this is why white women, they get, Jeff. Oh, Jeff. She starts to do her, I'm an innocent, I didn't... Like, cause now there's someone who can beat her fucking ass without problem.
Right, in her face,
in now,
real life, in 4K.
Oh yeah, she knew none of us. I can't touch her. She knows that.
Right.
But she can. But a girl can. And so she starts fucking. They're going back and forth. They're talking, and then Rachel essentially says, like, "Why are you saying this? Why are you saying the N-word to him? What's going on here?" And she's like, I have never said, and Jeff, I snapped. Like, I'm sure people think of me as a fairly nice guy.
Yeah.
People don't know, like, I don't think a lot of people in Chicago know what I come from and how angry I really am. I've been working on it. I'm doing much better. But, like, I'm sure you've gotten this, whitewashed or whatever. Yeah. When I get angry, nobody could ever perceive me as white. Like, whatever it is, it comes out. I was like, no. I started yelling at her. I was like, nah, say it, bitch. This is your moment. This is your fucking moment. You had all this goddamn gumption before. Say it, bitch. Say it. Say the fucking word. And I was mad. I was in her face. Rachel grabbed me. We're going outside. And mind you, this is all happening before this mic starts. And so all the comics, the hosts or whatever, they're watching without context, me just in this woman's face, and they don't know what the fuck's going on.
Oh, fuck.
And so Rachel, we go outside, and then the people, the staff finally, they kick her out, and then she leaves. Me and her admittedly had a little bit of a screaming match outside, then she left. And then I had a really awkward set. The end of that story.
Jesus, man.
That's
crazy, bro.
It's been my whole life, man. So I'm working on it.
I'm trying to think, like, cause like white people just like be in your business, like.
Yeah. Have you seen the
it's like
TikTok?
An Olympic sport, huh?
Do you scroll through TikTok? Like,
yeah.
You know the greatest thing about being black is you're never alone, because there's always going to be a white person.
Yeah.
I don't. Also, we're a little over an hour. We'll probably wrap up soon. But that's a big part of it that frustrates me is it's if you don't like, even taking race out of it, if you don't like me, if you have some sort of personal issue with me or whatever, just leave me alone. Like if white people, if I don't know, just I can't even. You talk, please. I'm mad. I've riled myself up. I gotta take a second. I've riled myself up.
No, bro, you're good. See, like, this is the thing. Like, we have to sit there and take so much shit that by the time you can actually get to a place or a space where you can articulate what you're feeling, it all comes out at once, and you're like, you have a fucking stroke trying to explain. Like,
I think the way I'll end this and wrap this up is, I very, very, and sincerely appreciate like hanging and meeting you and being friends with you, being friends with these people that I've met, because with the whole you're not black enough stuff, there's still black people that I don't fuck with that were like, snick Carlton ass, like, fuck you. And I don't want to be around that either. I need to find
as I'm sure you already know, this is for the listeners. Black people are not a monolith. There's more diversity in Africa than there is anywhere else in the world. The smartest and dumbest person are both in Africa. The tallest and shortest person are both in Africa. So, like, this whole idea that we're just all think the same, obviously stupid. It's not based in science. The whole idea of race itself is not based in science. And anyone, black or white, who says what it means to be black does not know what the fuck they're talking about. selling your fake goods, snake oil. Any white person that's like, oh, you don't know who Key Glock is? I'm blacker than you. Shut up. Let's both go plan a fucking heist and see
what happens.
Yeah. Or like when a black person's like, oh, you don't know how to play spades? I'm taking your black card.
Yeah.
Nigga, we will both get shot right now if we fit a description somewhere. It's like,
so man, thank you. Like, just thank you for your presence and
no,
talking.
yeah, thank you, man.
Let's take this picture.
Fuck yeah.